welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 12-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Excited to get into it. Been a couple days since I've done an MLB video, so if you missed me, I am back. Excited to get into this breakdown and get you guys in the green. That is the goal on this channel, get you in the money. As always, don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And a quick reminder that if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Got MLB content, got NFL content. I do have premium packages listed below down in the description. If you are getting very serious about NFL, I have some big improvements coming to that this week as well. So excited to get into this. Let's go ahead and start breaking down it. And as always, I like to do that by sorting my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Garrett Cole, taking on the Baltimore Orioles. He comes with a 34.7% K overall with a 14.9 swing strike rate, 30.5% K rate against righties, and a 39.7% K rate against lefties. Very dominant stuff across the board. And when you're pulling up his game log as far as his recent performances, last time out against Toronto, didn't have the best outing. Toronto's been really getting to everyone, and he did exit the game with a hamstring injury. That really was the case for removing him. And his return seems to be pretty optimistic. He doesn't really need much more than an extra 2 days rest, I guess they're saying. And if you look at his two performances prior to that, he was looking really good. 104, 116 pitches, 9 strikeouts, 15 strikeouts against that Angels team, and now he gets to take on a very K-heavy Baltimore Orioles team. He is a very heavy favorite as a 347 favorite. So the Orioles only have a 3.10 implied run total. Garrett Cole's got dominant stuff. He's 11-4 on FanDuel. He's 10-7 on DraftKings, and I think he's going to be well worth the price tag tonight. Lucas Giolito gets to take on that same Angels team I just discussed that Garrett Cole did dominate, and they're another team I've been looking to target a lot later on the season. They've been striking out a ton with a 28.2% K overall, a 15.4 swinging strike rate. That's top on the slate. A 27.7% K rate to righties and a 28.7% K rate to lefties. Really, the only thing he's been struggling is giving up a little bit of hard contact to those righties. But against this Angels lineup, I'm really not scared. I'm going to continue to target them. They're just easy to pick on at this point. The only downside I would say is there's 13 mile-an-hour winds blowing out the straightaway center in Chicago. That's a little unfortunate. But other than that, this is a great spot for him. He's 9-8 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's 10-2. And then as far as his return from the IL, you know, it was only a 10-day IL stint, and I don't really think that's going to, you know, affect his pitch count too much. You can make an argument maybe he doesn't get up there quite as much as he was before, but I think he should be pretty good to go here, and he comes into a tremendous spot. Waiting on some Vegas lines to be released, but I guarantee he's going to be a pretty heavy favorite in this one, so I like that spot for sure. Frankie Montas taking on the Kansas City Royals. They're just a team that I'm really not looking to target all that much due to their strikeout rate not being exactly the highest. I mean, they've definitely added some guys that have been striking out a lot more recently with Adalberto Mondesi, Ryan O'Hearn at the bottom of the order, but overall, they actually surprisingly don't have the highest strikeout rate in the world. And I definitely do think that Frankie Montas is a pretty good play. The Royals only have a 3.98 implied run total when looking at his recent performances as far as how he's been lately. Has been very sharp. He's gotten 7 strikeouts the last 2 times with 3 earned runs or less, and he's been all the way up to 104 and 105 pitches. And he has done that against some pretty good teams. So, I mean, you can make an argument here. I just don't think he's quite in the same tier as the other 2 guys we talked about, and they're pretty similarly priced on this slate. So, I have a hard time really justifying going to Montas in that price range. If you want to go there to be contrarian, if you need an extra bat that's a few $100 extra that you really, really like, I wouldn't call you crazy, but other than that, I'm not getting too excited on that one. Tony Gonsolin taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're a matchup that really doesn't scare us. His strikeout rate has been very effective against right-handed hitting, most notably. But when you look at his pitch count overall and whether he's been stretched out as of late, you can see at the 7.9 price tag, he's been right around like 50 pitches. And he's going to continue to increase that as he's been coming back. But I feel like it's probably not going to be up enough to our liking at this point in his juncture of the comeback, so probably not going to there. Jose Barrios, I'm really not trying to target the Rays. Drew Rasmussen, I'm definitely not looking to target the Toronto Blue Jays. They have been red hot, so that's a no from me. The next guy I'm looking to is probably Nathan Eovaldi taking on the Seattle Mariners, and he's probably one of the last guys that I really have all that much of interest in on this slate besides matchups. When looking at the Vegas lines, as far as how Boston's expected to fare on this one, we can see that they are a 140 favorite. Eovaldi is 10K on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 9.6. And as far as his recent form and all that stuff, He's always been a workhorse. He's going to go deep in the games. He has had 7, 7, 9, and 8 strikeouts over at least 5.1 innings pitched over his last 4 performances. Has looked very good, and he gets a great matchup here. So I think that Nathan Eovaldi is definitely a viable option and a guy that I would probably rather be going to than a guy like Frankie Montas, who I discussed. He'd probably be the next guy I'm skipping down to. Then we have Eric Fetty taking on the Miami Marlins. Their team I've been targeting a bunch towards the latter half of the season. Their lineup is terrible. They do not scare us. And when you factor in Fetty's ground ball, fly ball stuff and his decent strikeout rate, I definitely have interest. And I had targeted Eric Fetty the last time he faced this Miami team, and I remember it was one of his most dominant starts in the season. He had a tremendous game, so definitely am not afraid to be going to him. He's 7-2 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 6-9. And I think that's way too cheap for this matchup. Last time out against that Atlanta Braves team, a much more effective offense. He had 4 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, over 108 pitches. I mean, that's great stuff. And that Miami game that I was referring to that I had ended up playing him, he went 6.1 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 103 pitches. Was a fantastic performance for him. And while I hate to ruin Eric Fetty's parade, I have a feeling that had a lot more to do with the matchup than his talent. But not a terrible talent, and when you factor in the 2 combination, I think he'd have a really big game. So you got to keep that in mind. And the other guy I'd be looking to based on matchups would be Kyle Gibson taking on the Chicago Cubs. They're a similar team I've been looking to target a lot with their watered-down lineup, and I will continue to target them because they only have a 3.87 implied run total. It's in Philadelphia. Kyle Gibson is a 208 favorite. He's 8-6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at, if I can find him here, sorry. He's priced at 8-1. So over his last couple performances, last time out, he went 103 pitches, 5 strikeouts, over 4.2 innings pitched. Not the greatest performance in the world. The time prior to that, as far as his most recent good performance, was 6 innings pitched against Arizona. 3 strikeouts, 99 pitches. So he definitely has the pitch count, the leash. He'll definitely go deep into the game. It's a matter of the strikeouts, and I think Chicago could definitely help him with that case. So that's the guys that I would be looking to tonight for pitching. And with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, let's go ahead and sort my sheet by SIERA, scale interactive ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in the season and how good they're expected to be in the future based on the advanced metrics. And the worst on the slate today is going to be Alex Wells taking on the New York Yankees. Terrible ground ball, fly ball stuff, terrible hard contact stuff. A 609 slugging given up against righties and a 300 slugging given up against lefties. Has been very good against lefties as far as a 30% strikeout rate. The righties, he's been absolutely terrible. He has an 8.9% strikeout rate. That is embarrassingly bad for the major leagues. Even guys that don't really have the highest strikeout rate tend to have at least 10%. And the New York Yankees righties are going to be some of the best plays on the slate, no doubt in my mind. It's 84 degrees in Camden Yards in Baltimore. It's a tremendous hitting environment. Pulling up the diagram that I was going to show you guys as far as the ballpark environment, green across the board for home runs. And this is going to be a great spot. So I definitely love all the righties. DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Luke Voigt, Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela, Kyle Higashioka. I mean, the amount of power in the Yankees lineup is ridiculous, and you can definitely go Rizzo Gallo in the middle order if you want to be contrarian, because realistically, we're hoping they get Alexander Wells out of this game early, and if they do, they get to take on the Baltimore Orioles bullpen, and the Baltimore Orioles bullpen is terrible. They have one of the worst pitching staffs in the league. All in on the Yankee stack. I'm sure they're going to be popular, but for good reason, and I definitely have interest in them tonight. Jackson Kowar taking on the Oakland Athletics has been pretty bad over 17 innings pitch sample size. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's bad. Hard contact stuff's bad. He's giving up a 442 slugging to righties, a 560 slugging to lefties. And he has to take on an Oakland squad tonight that, while it's not exactly the most talented lineup in the world, they're definitely solid. They're on the road in Kansas City. They get a good ballpark upgrade from Oakland. Kauffman Stadium, not the friendliest confines as far as home runs are concerned, but the outfield is very large, plays very friendly to those doubles, singles, triples, base hits. And let's be real, there's range league hitters that can hit the ballpark. They can hit the ball at any ballpark if they really get into one. And Kowar is definitely going to provide them with that opportunity. I'm definitely going to love Matt Olson in the 3 spot with all the power that he provides. Starling Marte, Josh Harrison, both have some power speed combinations, some stolen base upside. You have Matt Chapman, who's really starting to come into his own finally. Jed Lowry, Mark Canha, Tony Kemp, Sean Murphy, Elvis Andrews. I'd be willing to play these guys 1 through 9, and I definitely do like them taking on Kowar. And then the Kansas City Royals bullpen is very bad, which is something I always factor in. And they're on the road. They get that guaranteed 9th inning at bat. Sam Merrill's going to apply for the Yankees. So both of those stacks, those two early on, make a lot of sense. Packing on, taking on the Chicago White Sox. He's actually been very good as far as limiting slugging, hard contact, and ground ball, fly ball stuff has been good. He doesn't really strike anyone out, but been able to have that sinker ball effect and not really getting much hard contact through the air. So the White Sox, I'm going to be waiting on some Vegas lines to release. I have a feeling that it'll probably be a little bit higher than you would think looking at those numbers, just because the Chicago White Sox have a very good lineup. And you can make an argument for them. I mean, they have guys that just mash left-handed pitching. Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Yasmani Grandal, Andrew Vaughn, Billy Hamilton's been great against lefties, Danny Mendick. So I wouldn't write them off. Just keep in mind, Naughton's been pretty solid. Tony Gonsolin, not really looking to target him with Arizona bats. That's a no for me. The San Francisco Giants are taking on Jake Arrieta, which could be a great recipe for success because he's given up a .556 slugging to righties, a .551 slugging to lefties. Traditionally has been much worse against lefties, and it gives up a bunch of pop to them. So the San Francisco Giants lefties are going to be in a great spot tonight. The only problem is they're playing in San Francisco, which, when pulling up the diagram for a ballpark environment, is not a good, friendly hitting environment. As far as home runs, does play pretty well down the right field line of those left-handed hitters besides the home run ball, so you can make an argument that that's going to help us a little bit here. But overall, that's kind of the only thing that kind of stinks here. There's 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. The stadium's designed to kind of limit that wind to not be as effective as other stadiums. But I do think that you could get them low-owned, and they're in a great spot here. I mean, the left-handed power, Tommy La Stella, Brandon Belt, Lamonte Wade, Brandon Crawford, Mike Yastrzemski, love all them. And the righties in a great spot as well. It's not like Arrieta is going to blow us away for righties. He's been pretty bad. So Buster Posey, Chris Bryant, Evan Longoria. If this team is in a great hitting ballpark, I'd be all in. Since they're not, it's a little unfortunate, but definitely a good stack tonight. Jordan Lyles taking on Houston. It's a guy we've been targeting all season long. He's terrible. He gives up a .541 slugging to righties, a .480 slugging to lefties. It's just really not good. The Houston Astros, looking at their lineup and their implied run total and everything, they have a 5.44 implied run total. They're going into Texas, which is a great hitting environment. Big upgrade for them. So we have another team that's on the road in a great hitting environment. In Texas, green across the board as far as Globe Life Field's concerned. Love targeting this ballpark. And we know the Astros have plenty of talent throughout their lineup. You can target the righties and lefties. You can play every single bat in this lineup 1 through 9. My least favorite would be Martin Maldonado in the 9th spot just because he doesn't have quite as much pop. But honestly, for a catcher, he's been showing some pop this year. So mostly against left-handed pitching, I will say. But anyways, can definitely play these guys. Jose Altuve, Michael Brantley, Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Yulieski Gurriel, Carlos Correa, Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick. I mean, this lineup's absolutely stacked. Play anyone you want. Feel great about it. It's hard to even pick out favorites because, they might pitch around one guy thinking they want to pitch around him, and the next guy steps up and he has just as much talent. So definitely like the Astros stack for sure. The Washington Nationals, you can target Luzardo with right-handed power. The problem is it's in Miami. And, or is it in Miami? No, it's in Washington. I apologize. The game's in Washington. Okay, so really we're just looking to target the right-handed power. So Wayne Thomas, Alcides Escobar, Josh Bell, Carter Kieboom. Those would be the guys I'm looking to. Not getting all too excited if we're being honest, but you can target them. Zach Greinke's been a guy we can target with right-handed power all season long. I'm not really sure if people are catching on to it. And you can definitely be looking there. Before we get to him, I will say Jake Woodford, taking on the New York Mets, has been very bad against left-handed hitting. He's been very good against righties, so I'm not all that interested in the New York Mets righties. But the lefties, he's giving up a .589 slugging with a 39.5% hard contact rate. So I will say that the New York Mets lefties are definitely in play tonight. As far as hitting environment, it is in New York, so that's a little less than ideal. Citi Field, not the most ideal hitting environment. They do have a 4.7 implied run total. And like I said, I'm really going to be focusing on the lefties. Jonathan Villar, Francisco Lindor, Michael Conforto, Jeff McNeil. Of course, you can throw in the righties of Pete Alonso and Javi Baez to round out your stacks because they're in the center of this order. But just keep in mind, Woodford's been a lot better against right-handed hitting. So I do like the lefties here. Zach Greinke at Texas, you can play the righties. Problem is that Texas really doesn't have a lot of talent. But Adolis Garcia is definitely a guy that's going to stand out to me a lot in the 3 spot. I'm sure he gets very low ownership. DJ Peters in the 5 spot. Both those guys would be great one-off plays that could be lower owned, along with Isaiah Kinner Fafella, my 3rd favorite option there. So if you want to go there, that's a reasonable option. Touki Toussaint has been giving up quite a bit of hard contact to left-handed hitting specifically. So the Colorado Rockies, Raimel Tapia, Charlie Blackmon, Ryan McMahon, you can make the case for. I'm not getting too excited about them. The Braves bullpen's pretty bad, though, so could be an exciting spot. But overall, it's really the lefties I'm looking to target against him. And it's not like the Rockies have loaded power against those lefties. We had mentioned Miami taking on Eric Fedde. I do like Eric Fedde a lot. If I were going to target him, it would be lefties. Honestly, I'm not looking to target him. I just think this is not a good spot. Luke Weaver taking on the LA Dodgers is going to be a tremendous guy to target. He's given up a 44.6% hard contact rate on the season. That is by far the worst on the slate. A 47.6% hard contact to righties and a 40.6% hard contact to lefties. With a 404 slugging given up to righties and a 526 slugging given up to those lefties. Really bad across the board for the most part. I mean, he's made some improvements. He's made some strides this year, but the lefties are really going to make me excited against him, and I think the righties. And overall, just the fact that he's taking on the LA Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are a tremendous lineup, and the Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen has been very, very bad. Another bad bullpen that we love to target. So anytime I can take advantage of that, I love to hear it. Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Trey Turner, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Will Smith, Cody Bellinger, Gavin Lux. Lineup is absolutely loaded, and as mentioned, if I'm going to pick my favorites, I really do like the lefties in Max Muncy, Corey Seager. But let's be honest, this lineup is so loaded, it doesn't even matter. Gavin Lux, I think, is going to be a great salary relief option at the bottom of this order. So definitely have interest in the Dodgers. And other than that, there's not really too much I'm looking to target besides Adrian Sampson and left-handed bats is what really stands out to me. And maybe some Jose Berrios left-handed bats as well. But taking on Philadelphia, Adrian Sampson, he's been absolutely terrible against left. He gives up a 563 slugging. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's not good. Hard contact stuff is not good. And the Philadelphia Phillies have a guy on their team that you might have heard of before. His name is Bryce Harper, and he is in a tremendous spot tonight. Odubel Herrera, great spot. Brad Miller, great spot. Didi Gregorius, great spot. Freddie Galvis, great spot. Load up on the left-handed bats. Cubs bullpen's bad. Philadelphia Phillies are in Philadelphia. It's a great hitting environment. It's 84 degrees, great hitting weather. And everything matches up here for these Philadelphia Phillies tonight. So they have a high implied run total. Home runs are great in Citizens Bank Park. Yeah, love them. Love Bryce Harper. Tremendous play tonight. So, and then lastly, Jose Berrios, a guy that people may be a little bit scared to target. And I think that his splits are very clear this year. Against righties, he's been dominant. Against lefties, he has a high strikeout rate, but he's giving up a 480 slug, and ground ball, fly ball stuff's not good. I think that there could be some great one-off bats here taking on these Tampa Bay Rays, a lineup that is much better than most around the league. Brandon Lau, Austin Meadows, G-Man Choi, Joey Wendell, Kevin Kiermaier. I think all those lefties are in play along with Taylor Walls. Should be able to get them very low owned, and they are in a great spot. I think take on Berrios in more of a on the down low positive spot for them. I don't think people are really going to be thinking of this as a good matchup with the name value of Jose Berrios. So, with that being said, that was my overall breakdown of this slate tonight. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Aaron Judge, doubling up on the thumbnail boy in the home run call. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't much of a hot take. I'm sure Aaron Judge is going to get a lot of ownership, but I think if you fade him tonight, you are making a massive mistake. This is a ridiculously good spot for him. Taking on Alex Wells and this Baltimore Orioles bullpen. First, starting off with Alex Wells. As mentioned, the guy only has an 8% strikeout rate against right-handed hitting in the major leagues. He's a major league pitcher, and that is terrible. With a 609 slugging given up to righties, 39.7% hard contact rate. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is terrible. And when you're looking at his repertoire, he literally throws an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not going to overpower anyone in this lineup. And the curveball he goes to quite frequently as well. And Judge crushes that pitch off left-handed pitching with a 222 ISO, 71.43% hard contact rate, and a 455 WOBA. Love this spot for Aaron Judge. I think you're making a mistake if you don't play him tonight. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Aaron Judge, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.